hit the record.
Did you hit yours yet?
No, I
I
didn't.
hit yours first. Yeah, it hit yours.
There,
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5. Crazy.
Wow.
You know, you'll just. It's what it is. All right. All right. Anyway. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. You ready, Ken?
I'm ready.
We're ready.
All right. All right. Let's. I'm gonna vanish you for a second. And I'll bring you back. Okay.
All right.
Hey, I don't make this stuff up. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza here with Mr. J.D. McGibney. As you know, according to the show, I'm the pro and he's the artist. But today we have the exciting adventure of having another artist on the show.
We do.
To avoid as many boob questions as possible as per last episode. So it should be pretty exciting. However, as you know, as per the show's title, I don't make this stuff up.
I make up at least half of it.
The dog makes up absolutely 100%. And that's because I'm the smarts.
I am the hearts.
And the dog from breakfast is definitely the farts.
Yeah.
Is it the farts?
He's totally the farts.
I don't know. So who do we have today, JD?
We have the amazing, wonderful Mr. Chen Balbus.
Oh my God, Chen Balbus. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no
How's it
problem.
going there?
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for braving COVID and coming all the way to America as through the internet.
I did it all by myself.
Yeah, and boy, are my wings tired. Listen, where are you right now?
Currently, I'm in my home city at a friend's house. I'm using his office for this interview.
No,
So,
I mean the location. What country, state, city? Are you underwater? What's going on?
currently, I'm in Israel.
Israel.
Ooh.
We're currently on a third lockdown. We can't move anywhere beyond a mile away.
So what you're saying is the secret cabal that everyone's talking about has officially taken control of Jerusalem. I mean, Israel.
Yeah, we're
According to
all-
John Schaefer.
Actually, we're all taken over by now, and there are riots going on everywhere, and it's
Yikes.
all going to shit. Actually,
It's
Can I say
crazy.
shit here? I
Yeah,
can
you could
say
say whatever you want. Yeah, we'll just beep out the entire conversation.
that's
No,
pretty bad.
we make a lot of stupid jokes here, mostly. Like,
We definitely do.
but since you're in another area, a lot of people in the United States of America, they're saying things that they believe the entire world got together and convinced the populace that there's a fake COVID pandemic to control us. Do you think the world has ever had the what do I call the patience or the fortitude to allow themselves to work with other people on such a grand scale? Do you think that's a thing?
I think the COVID, in one way, it united people and it divided people because right now the people lack faith in the government, the officials, in pretty much everything. So still, we're divided once again instead of being actually united. Some of us don't even believe there's COVID. Some of us believe there is COVID and it's here and right now. So, due to the fact that we're all humans, we all have our individual thoughts, and it can lead to lots of discussions whether who's right, and no one is actually right and no one is actually wrong.
All right, yeah. But I'll ask the question again, just for clarification. Do you believe that the world of leadership and the secret cabal are capable of having responsible behavioral relationships to allow such a smooth transition into a world domination like this?
See, you're basically asking, is there a secret cabal that's able to organize that many people together?
Mastermind.
Yeah, because even Canada hates America now, and Mexico hates America. I mean, the United States, and we know that Argentina ain't getting along with anybody. So, and Brazil has chemicals in their beautiful oceans and lakes and rivers. And I'm just saying, isn't there a thing going on in Israel right now? I'm just like, how did they get together and be like, we should do a pandemic? And everyone was like, yeah, all right.
In one way, you think in Israel, I could tell you that there's probably a mastermind behind all the lockdowns. There's probably COVID, but there's a mastermind behind our lockdowns.
Yeah.
Here for sure. And we know the reason. So I can tell you that definitely it is so about Israel.
Can we have a scoop here? Can we have an official scoop? What is the reason?
Well, you guys have been having some crazy political stuff as of late.
Well, basically political. Our prime minister is filled up with lawsuits against him, and he's full of all the bad stuff. He's
The bad stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Forgive my English. I haven't used it for a long while.
That's
So
right.
good.
English is actually my 5th language. The other one is it's sarcasm, ignoring, silence,
I'm
a
good.
dog,
And don't
baby.
forget, what about bad English?
What, bad English?
Yeah, bad English is also one of your languages.
I'm too good at bad language for it to be bad language.
Oh,
I'm
so
very
then-
good at bad English. I'm very good at it.
Are you good with hitting on American USA women, like the States women?
I used to be.
You'd be like, I can't speak your language, but my pants, penis, your
Actually,
mouth.
To tell the truth, in my good times, I used my accent for the best. It worked.
You gotta be. Would you look them up and down and go, I am from somewhere else?
oh my God, that would be the best line ever.
Somewhere else, you know.
What's your best line? Try it on me. Let's see if it works.
You know, I come from the desert.
That's weird. I come from my penis. We're almost.
I came from a grain of sand.
I originally came from my father, but then I moved to my mother's
That's how it
womb.
goes in the Middle East. We come from sand.
Is that true? Because I've seen a tree.
I feel like there'd be a lot of road rash.
Yeah.
With
After
that.
watering it, there was a tree, but there was sand first.
It was sand first.
That's
You know, I don't know about you, but if there's that much sand, like I tell women all the time, I go, sex on the beach sounds like it could be fun until you have sex on the beach and you realize
ow.
the sand
It's
is
not
everywhere.
fun. I hate it.
Yeah, to quote the one and only amazing Anakin Skywalker, I don't like sand. It's coarse. And it gets stuck everywhere. Anyway, all right, let's move on to why people are even here today. We heard you have the best meatball recipe. No, all right. Anyway, JD's gonna talk to you. He's gonna bring you into the show so the audience understands what we're doing today. He's gonna give a little background about who you are, what you do, and then we're gonna start some questions. I'm gonna adjust our camera while he's doing that.
Awesome.
All right.
So, howdy, buddy. Thanks again for coming in and chatting with us on this lovely Sunday. And so, for everyone who's watching or will be watching that is not familiar with you, you play in a couple of bands. You play in Orphaned and the Secret Saints.
Orphaned.
Yeah. I play those.
You do play those.
So Orphaned and Secret Saint, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Secret Saints,
So
plural.
it sounds like there's a commonality between the bands. One is there's no real home. They're always searching for a home. And the other one is you don't know we exist. We're secret.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Men in Black of rock and roll.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Although the name, I just like the combination of the names. It didn't have an actual meaning.
You just
Oh, for
wanted to
Secret
be the
Saints,
new
you mean.
SS.
But now we can speak meaning.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, you can never use the short form of your name. SS. It'd
It
be
was
terrible.
pretty much when we just took the initials and then we saw we're the SS. We're Jews.
Like, crap.
We might have to just use our whole name all the time.
It's the history is repeating itself. The Judenrat.
Yeah. Do they not read books?
Just watch out for Crystal Nacht.
Crystal. Now, would you say both bands are rock and roll, or one is like more like soft rock with a hard edge, and then the other one is like metal? I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah. Orphaned is an Oriental metal band, which is a genre that they developed throughout the years.
Yeah.
I was not there when they did it, but I helped.
Yeah. Well, you came in what 7 years ago?
That's
Something
what
like
she
that.
said.
About 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So you were like a wee little baby when you first started.
You were what, like 13?
Yeah. I was the sperm when they they formed in 91. I was born in 92.
Oh wow. The band is literally get out of my head.
I'm sorry.
The band is literally older than you are.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they
crazy.
are.
Yeah.
In 92, I was already what was I? I think
I was 4.
was I? I don't know what I was. I was
How old
10,
was
11, 12, 13. I was 14 years
Yeah,
old.
because you're like a decade older than me.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely older than you. More importantly though, did you use the word Oriental band?
I did.
Is that they're allowed to say that in Israel? We actually got that word taken away from us.
It's a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we took that and we call it Oriental metal. That's the genre, and through that band, there are many new Oriental metal bands just
Keep saying
because
it.
of us. It's
I wish. Are you allowed to say anything you want in Israel? Give me another word. Bring it back.
Chutzpah.
I
Chutzpah.
mean, yeah, I mean, Israel is fully democratic. You can do pretty much whatever you want, and no one is gonna arrest you unless it's hate speech. And hate speech, you're probably gonna get beat up somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but
How it
there's
goes.
no law for the hate speech. They just beat you up. They're just like,
Yeah, they just you
Just like,
just
oh, you're a
probably
dick.
find someone that beat you up on the street for saying such a word.
yeah, but what defines hate speech really? I mean, like somebody could be talking about boobs, and I could just hate it and then just want to attack them.
Or you could just get really mad and just call someone a boob. That
Yeah.
right there would be hate
Be
speech.
like, and be like, oh my god, he called me a boob, or even worse, he could be like, I'm changing the subject to testicles. No, all right, so
If you call someone boob here, that would be pretty much weird if I'll say it just in English. No one would get it.
oh, just well, what's the
Not
word?
many people know English. That's the thing.
Well, how do you say boob in Israel?
Boob, titi.
Titi.
I mean, that's really
Oh
convenient.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like teta, tete.
Yeah, like titi,
Oh.
but titi.
Oh, all right.
It works
Oh,
for me.
Tete. I like it. I
Um,
like it.
See?
All right. Okay. Thanks for being a guest today. No.
I'm glad to give my input.
Yeah. All right, but let's move on to the more important stuff. So, JD didn't actually explain the whole purpose of why we're having a guest on today, right?
Well, we're here pretty much to dissect and interview on the course of actions that happened that basically sparked your career within the music industry.
Well, yeah, the process and
The
not the
process.
results. We don't care about results in this place. We don't care that Metallica plays
Stadium.
stadiums. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
We care about how Metallica got to that point, right?
Because that is the most overlooked part.
Yeah, everyone goes, if I play shows, I'll make money because Metallica plays shows. If I make CDs, I'll make money because Metallica makes CDs. And some people don't understand that the process of the music industry has nothing to do with your music, nor does it have to do anything with your shows, because that's not how you actually make money. If that was the case, you could play shows and record albums all you want in your backyard and you would make money. But that isn't how it works, right?
Definitely.
All right.
It's all so different than how I imagined it when I was so young.
Yeah, you were like, what do you mean? I got to
I mean, he's still young.
My first question, though, is you have two bands. Do you know if both those bands are incorporated or turned into businesses, legal businesses?
Orphaned is a full blown business as it is
Yes.
right now, and the other one is more of just fulfilling my personal habits of playing rock and roll.
So one band is a professional band. The other band's like your hobby band. You just enjoy doing it. You're not looking to do anything
Yeah.
with it.
I do hope that one day something will come out of it, but I'm also realistic about how much work it takes from getting to that point, and that's definitely not easy. You need the right connections, and I'm not in the point where I can actually give my 100% for that. So I'm enjoying most of it, whatever I can get.
All right. Okay, that's fair to say. Now, can you tell the audience a little bit about how you ended up in what
Orphaned Land.
Liz just said, what a bunch of weirdos. What are you talking about? Your how do you say it? Tetas? Tetas? Tetas?
Whatever he said.
TARDIS?
TARDIS. That's from Doctor Who.
Oh,
the
I
TARDIS.
don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so how did you get your start with the Orphan of the Lands, the Oriental music?
Basically, I was
Say it.
being a pest. Actually, it was all about being a pest and a bit of luck.
Oh, all right. So why don't you explain this story to us so we can break it down?
My older brother was forming Orphaned at the time.
Oh, your older brother was in Orphanland?
Yeah, he was singing. They were like two vocalists. It was cool at the time.
Now it's not.
No, not at all.
Once I got rid of my brother, I was like, this is just hot, not cool. Anyway,
Yeah,
go ahead.
now it's less cool. And throughout the years, the singer was friends with my family. He saw me in my diapers, probably.
Yeah.
And I remember him, and we always had that contact until I finally grabbed the guitar and got a little bit better. And then I just spammed him and the rest of the guys from the band for years I spammed them with cover videos until they finally gave me a phone call and told me that if I want in for the band because
So
one guy just bailed.
because they saw you doing cover music, that is the only reason they asked you to be a part of the band.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they needed a replacement guitar player at the time, and
So
I was the guy to fill in for both of the guitar players, and something just worked.
um was there any relationship building involved, or it was just strictly because you did cover songs?
No, I had a close relations with Kobe, the singer. He's friends with my family, so every time I went to their concerts, I was a real fan of the band,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and through that, I stayed in contact with them throughout the years, and I kept just asking. And I didn't know that it's an option. Even one day, they just told me, just be on the lookout. We might need a replacement guitar player because our former guitar player bailed.
Yeah. So they
And
gave you a heads up.
yeah, they gave me like a heads up that we might need you, and if you want in for that. And obviously, I went full blown more than I needed to, and
Well, to be
that's
fair, everyone needs a hen.
Yeah, everyone needs a hen. Uh,
yeah. When I love something, I always give like the extra mile because they wanted just someone to play instead of the other guy, and I
yeah.
just gave ideas, and I kept dropping them. And my enthusiasm as a young guy pretty much stabled my place there
Now, do
because
you
they
think
were
if you
older.
do you think if you didn't know them in the way you did from growing up, and that your brother was involved in them, that they probably would have been like, well, "Who is this wacko emailing us all the time these cover songs?"
I'm certain it will be the way because nowadays that that's what Kobe tells me, the singer,
Yeah.
that it, I kept spamming him with messages, and if I just was a random guy, he would just say nice and continue with his day probably.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Great, another cover."
Thanks.
Yeah,
He's like, "It doesn't even keep me warm at night. This is what is this?"
yeah. Thank you for playing that song. I appreciate it. Have a nice
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent cover.
Yeah,
So for just so I break it down a little bit for the audience, because I don't want to confuse them. I don't want the audience to ever think if they do what you did, it would work. Because
yeah.
what Hen did was, it had nothing to do with his music. It had nothing to do with cover songs. It had nothing to do with him sending the music. What really built that opportunity was his relationship building that stemmed from a third party introduction originally with his brother. His brother had already established a full grown relationship with the band to the point where he was performing with the band. And then Hen would go there as a fan to support his brother and the band. Then the brother left the band. And then Hen continued to support the band, and he maintained a relationship growth with them. And he
Over a period of like almost 2 decades too.
yeah, 2 decades of really investing his time in the relationship. The thing is, what we talk about on the show is artist brain versus business brain. And the way, what I like is that Hen is a professional. He tours, he makes money with music, but still, this is something we talk about. Like a lot of times in interviews, huge celebrities, they don't understand how they became successful. They just start talking, oh, I did a movie and someone saw me, and they
But
don't
Dave Grohl
realize
is a really good
who.
example. Dave Grohl, because anytime he's interviewed, he always just has that artist mentality.
Oh yeah, Dave Grohl is a big like, just keep making music, kid.
Yeah.
And what we like to point out is a lot of people see the results and not the process. And the process you had with this was, it started with the 3 needs of success: network, market, practice. You built and cultivate relationships, which is primary. The secondary is marketing yourself, which would be, I'm available, I exist, I play guitar,
And you're reliable.
I'm reliable. And then the practice was that you continue to work your craft, and also, putting the time into networking and building those relationships, that it allowed the opportunity to open up. Because COVID, how do you say?
What?
The singer?
Kobe.
Kobe said directly to you, if you were just some random stranger on the block, I would have been like, great, thanks for the music, goodbye. But because you had already put in the time to build and cultivate those relationships, and he knew your brand value of who you are as an individual, it allowed that door to open for you to come in and play in the band. In fact, he approached you and said, be ready, we might need you. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate, actually.
All
I
right.
like
So
that.
now, go ahead. Go ahead. No, what were you saying? What were you saying?
Oh no, I like the explanation. It's very The music industry involves a lot of personal relations rather than your skills. I
Yes.
personally know so many talented people that are not getting the recognition they truly deserve, in my taste, but
Yeah.
that's because they do not know how to maintain a business relationship, how to market themselves, either online or in a personal way. They they just lose that part, and it doesn't make them less talented, but they just need the extra mile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's two completely different mindsets. To be able to like switch from I'm gonna focus on the art part, and then like be able to like switch just like the little light switch to think of yourself as a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What one thing that that over the 20 years of me being in the industry, just entertainment industry in general, making a living doing this, is I noticed that some people that never succeed, they focus backwards on the three needs of success. They focus on their craft, they practice all they can, then they put tons of money into marketing something that no one knows about, and then they try to build relationships based on them liking them. And they don't do it the other way around. And the thing is, an artist goes, well, if I'm good enough, people will notice me. And if I build it, they will come. That's the marketing. And then when they get there, then I'll put the time into the relationships. And that's a backwards thinking. Some of my greatest opportunities came from relationships that were led by the referrals, which is marketing and relationships working together. And then I knew the industry, I knew what I had to do, and I knew what it is that was my responsibility. But not just playing. Like, I'm sure you don't just play guitar. You have meetings with them. You talk about direction. I'm sure in an interview, like now,
You know what your talking points are. You know what your brand is.
yeah, but you also know your place in the band. Like if Kobe's talking, you let him talk. If they ask a question that's about the band's direction, well, Kobe. That's practice. You need to understand your position and what do you bring to the table. But more so, now for all this might be a little bit personal, but you don't have to tell us how much money you make. But do you make a sole living on music, or are there other fields of diversity that you help bring in income?
There were times where was very successful, and I was making really good money. When tours were thriving, the merch was selling, stuff were good. And there were times where I didn't make a dime, even a dime, and I could live solely on music. And I chose to quit my job just for that. And now I can't do I can't do anything with the band. So I need to find my way right now. I
All
did, by
right.
the way.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure
Mazel
you
tov.
you know you have a lot of skills. But I'd like to point out to the audience, this is an example of sometimes a band is successful and sometimes it's not. And the rule of success, you're always trying to work to diversify yourself. So wealth is the amount of time you could go without having to recoup income. Recouping income is you trading your time for money, right? And in a situation when your band or any venture that you're doing is doing well, you should be organizing your money to divide it into basically security, growth, and dream, so you can protect yourself, invest into yourself, and then obviously reward yourself. And sometimes even successful ventures, we talk about it all the time. There's basketball players that make millions upon millions of dollars for their contracts, and on average, the majority of successful celebrity players go broke within 5 years after retiring.
I think MC Hammer, going back to music, is a really good example because he was around, he was making a buttload of money, and then
Yeah,
disappeared.
He went broke for A, not knowing how to organize his money, but B, also spending his money, thinking it was always going to come in, and that was a big issue. And this is just an eye opener that how you're saying it, Hen. At times we were making money, I was able to quit my job. Now I was like, I got to look for something else to do just to make money. And your job as a professional musician is always a part of that for your longevity is
Yeah.
management of time, money, and people.
I think that these times, I don't know about the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, how it actually went. I heard the stories, I saw the documentaries, but I think nowadays, and even when I got to the band, and it was a dream for me to get into a band as a young dude, I was 17.
Mhm.
And it was quite of a dream. And I thought, okay, that's what I need to do. But I always had in mind that I'm not in the 90s nor 80s, that Orphaned is going to be a full blown arena band. I always
Yeah.
have that in mind that it might not make the amount of money I think it would. So I need to keep my feet on the ground. So I did always.
Yeah, and one of the things is, even if your band was an arena band, to think that that's how you're going to make your living for the rest of your life is, I'm not saying you're naive, but it is a naive way of thinking for most musicians or even actors or comedians. You know, look at Metallica, look at Ozzy, look at Kiss, right? These are three major bands that one might say are extremely successful. Believe it or not, they do not make the majority of their money on music. A majority of the money actually comes from diversifying their brand's value and ultimately becoming, intellectual property or licensing things and things like that.
Or you're Gene Simmons and you own like 50 million patents.
You own patents. They own, they take their wealth and they diversify it. And the point of that is, one of my mentors once told me, the moment you walk off stage, you're jobless, you're unemployed. The moment you stop recording a song, you're unemployed. That's the problem with being a musician. That's the problem with being an actor. Once you stop acting, you're unemployed. Once you leave, whatever the case may be, once you stop working on set, you're unemployed. And people, entertainers, are not aware that they're constantly unemployed. And if you can create passive income through wealth development, through organizing your money, you're ultimately allowing yourself the choice to do what it is you do passionately. You would play music for free if you had to, because you just love playing music, because it's what you do, right? No one pays you to play in your room.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was up to me, I pretty much had the Guns N' Roses idea in mind. Writing music, playing concerts, that's what I actually wanted to do, but it involves so many things around to get by sometimes that eventually I stopped looking for jobs in music. I didn't want to be a guitar teacher or stuff like that. I hated working in the music business. I want to play. I want to write music. That's fun for me.
Yeah.
But I don't like the whole what do you need to do to get by. So that's how it pretty much went for me. I always had in mind that music will not be my safety. It will not be my safety net.
Yeah, but the idea that your safety net is outside your industry limits your opportunities within the industry itself. So something I teach my people, especially when I sit down with them, musicians alike, is sometimes you got to do what you hate to do what you love. And one of the kids I mentored, he started as a door person at a production company. And next thing you do, now he reads scripts. He's allowed to pitch scripts. He's allowed to get involved in, he's the top guy they always call to be a part of any project they work on. And it took him 2 years. That's pretty quick. But what he did was he utilized that time to be around the industry, to make relationships where people just knew who he was, knew his name, brand development and relationship development. Because you got to remember, networking is who you know. Marketing is who knows you. It's who remembers you. And then practicing is knowing yourself. What do you bring to the table? What are your skills, your strengths and weaknesses? So, in a sense, the moment you choose to work outside your industry, now that aspect of you, your quote unquote fallback plan, or like whatever the case may be, it becomes a hobby. And you can't make a living on a career that's a hobby. Imagine, like, I worked at an office and I wanted to be the CEO, but I did it on weekends.
Yeah.
And then during the week,
that's my setback pretty much when regarding music and what I actually wanted to do. I figured out that I cannot, especially in Israel. I'm taking that setback for myself because I'm in Israel and I know that working here, that's not gonna happen. And I know there are so many reasons around to get to your dreams, family, stuff like that, that you cannot leave behind in Israel and just say, okay, bye everyone, I'm leaving to LA or New York or any place that I think the music industry would serve my music well. I want to leave the country many times, but eventually the more I don't know how to say, my family and reasons like that stop me from moving.
No, that's fair to say. And you said something that's also interesting, because it is an artist brain mentality. Is, you said my music. I want to serve my music. And there's bands like what's that guy you really love? He has bald head.
Devin Townsend.
Devin Townsend started doing not his music.
That's true.
He put time into other bands. He put time.
Steve Vai, to be exact, at like 18 or 19.
And these opportunities he enjoyed doing. He obviously was a fan of Steve Vai, but he wasn't doing his music. But it led him to opportunities by building relationships with. Same thing with David Lee Roth.
That's how you and I met, is by
you and me.
No, me and him.
Oh, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
I literally followed everything that he said. Where I had a day job where I was completely outside of my field of interest. I was literally working in an air conditioning manufacturing company, and then I decided to start taking my career seriously, and ended up interning over in LA for a record label, and then I volunteered over with the Goblin band, and then that led to me being the Goblin, which led to relationships, which led to a recommendation for me to play with Voodoo Kung Fu, which is how you and I met.
Yeah, it's a great flow chart, by the way.
Mainly because it involves goblins.
Go back. There's a goblin.
What was that, Ken?
In all cases, I think you're right, but it also has lots of reasons around, and like I said, it has to serve what I want to do, and I always had my goal in mind, and I know how to get it. I know what are my setbacks, and the fact that I live here in Israel, there are things I cannot leave, and that's what holding me back from giving my 100% for those things. I don't believe that if I'll get connections around here would help me out there, because that's where I want to be in the end game.
Well, the good thing about this day and age is that we have the internet.
Yeah, but I avoid it at all costs. There's too much porn.
The internet does not provide you with the things you want. I mean, if we'll take, for example, endorsements. I've had endorsements in my life, and it was all fun and games. And whenever I applied for endorsements online, I always got rejected or ignored. And wherever I met someone in a festival, we signed.
Because those are
those are physical relationships.
Yeah.
Also, it's known as third-party introductions because they're being introduced to you through the event or through the experience. But more importantly, you keep saying you know how to do it. So to our audience, I once asked a comedian this question, by the way, and they say, I refuse to answer it. I go, why? He goes, I don't want people to know how to do it. They'll get, their competition. Like, I need help. Do you feel that same way? Do you think if you help people elevate their careers, do you think it's competition to you? Do you think it sets you back?
No, not at all. I'm all up for people fulfilling themselves, and I think it's you can wash my back and I can wash yours. That's how I look at it. I'll help this guy. I enjoy seeing people getting their success. If I think they deserve it, I'm gladly helping anyone, I think. And I believe that they'll see that the same way. They'll help me when I need that. That's
Good.
how I see it.
Yeah, no, that's smart thinking, because the idea is that everyone works together, grows together, and rises together, right?
Team rise together.
Team rise together. But more importantly, you were saying you know what to do to fulfill your dreams. So the first thing I'd like you to do is tell us what your end goal is, and then tell us what you feel the plan is to get to that end goal for our audience.
Basically, my end game plan was not for Orphaned. It was for the Secret Saints. Since Orphaned is not my actual band that I formed, so I do not have the say. The final say is not mine, won't be mine, and I know that. That's my position. I chose that. And we have different ambitions. And with the Secret Saints, which is this band is mine. And if I would to fulfill my actual dreams, to follow what I want, it would be to move to Los Angeles. And I have the right people and the right connections that could connect me properly and make this brand. I call it a brand more than a band. Make the Secret Saints bigger and sell it as a brand, even through T-shirts, as a band. It involves music, obviously, but I want to build it as a business at first, and I know how it would work because I have the right connections for that.
For the record, I would totally wear some Secret Saints panties.
Yeah, if you had panties for us to wear, we'd be wearing them right now.
We'd have once we have them, I'll send them right to you.
Excellent.
Sweet.
I'm an extra large. Just
We only have them in small. Sorry.
JD will be fine.
Perfect.
Small and long.
Small and long. I like them thin. So what's keeping you from turning it into a corporation, or I don't know what they would do in Israel to make it a business, because I know you can't incorporate in the States. So I don't know what you would do on your end, but Is there a way to turn it into a business? I know how to do it in England, but I don't know how to do it in Israel.
In Israel, I honestly, that's even Orphaned, which is the biggest band in Israel. We're
Yeah.
struggling to make a living in Israel. Our finance does not come from Israel,
Yep.
majorly from Europe, majorly from the USA. It it's really hard to make a living as a musician here because people do not perceive a musician and a band as a real job, as something that you need to buy music.
Yeah.
There are so many things that set it back from being however it is. And to be really successful musicians, obviously, as everywhere, it's pop artists. Pop
Well,
artists.
I don't agree with
Yeah.
that statement
Well,
completely,
I
but
think I think Thomas was asking, what's the process to actually register as a business in Israel? Like,
yeah,
do you, like
it
what?
was a
Do you have,
two. It was two part though. Do can you register as a business in Israel, and why haven't you yet? If your ultimate goal is to be a successful business.
Sorry. Yeah, actually, to pretty much form any business is not it's not really a hassle. It's just going there and setting it and showing your stuff legally. It's not a really a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is maintaining it. After a year, if you don't show any promises, they'll probably shut you down and
oh, really?
bankruptcy.
Wait,
Oh,
they force you to get shut down?
if you're not showing earnings,
Yeah, if you're not showing earnings, then there's not
Interesting.
you're not a business.
what
The
is the
first
percentage of earnings that they respond to? Like, is it 1% or does it have to be like 30%?
No, for bands there are like a few for bands there are like a few exceptions. They know it's a band. They know that the income is not promising, but
Yeah.
they ex- they do not expect much from us. Let's say that.
All right, that's fair. Now, because I'm not an expert in how the business works out in Israel, and again, if it was England, Canada, or the States, I can have a very detailed conversation about the process of developing a company and stuff like that, especially as an artist or a band. Moving on to the next part of yourself, what you're saying is, so you're saying how you become successful is you're going to go to LA, you have connections,
Mhm.
and you want to make shirts and market your brand.
Come again? I didn't hear the last part.
You said you wanted to market your brand with like shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I consider the band as an actual brand. Uh,
Yes.
I I like the design. I have the designs in mind for the t-shirts. I know the right guys in the clothing fields that can connect me properly, and they like my ideas. I pitch them online on theoretical terms, and they all like it. They all wanna make something out of it, but it has to be promising in a way that I'll be there eventually and promote that myself. Because without me, it cannot be promoted at this
Okay.
point.
Now, for these connections you have, are they making it so you have to buy a stock of like shirts and merchandise, or is it sort of like a pay as you go?
A pay as you go for now, and we're basically just giving out the designs. We have the designs that working out well for us.
Yeah, yeah. So you're getting paid a licensing right for the designs, and then the shirt company will take it and make the shirts. Oh, that's pretty good. That's an excellent deal. Now you're not doing that now. You said you're going to wait until you get to LA.
By the way, I have to clear out. I've got five.
Oh, you got a five. You got a five. All
You
right.
got 5.
That,
We got 5 minutes.
We need someone to give us five.
yeah, I've got a 5 minutes, guys.
All right,
Okie
that's no
dokie.
problem. You've definitely given us more time than you had to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been 38 minutes.
Oh
It's
wow,
just yeah, I
Damn.
know.
that went fast.
38 minutes. Now, do you think of a band that's just starting out? Do you think it's important that the band spends thousands of dollars on a CD, music videos, and merchandise is the way to make the most money in a band that is unknown?
Mm, I want to say yes and I want to say no because I know many bands who invested so much money in promising their concerts, promising the good music videos, stuff like that, but that they just did not elevate well, from what I
Yeah.
saw. So the raw material must be very good on many aspects, and you need to invest the right money in the right places. I would say yes, music videos are a good investment. proper website, maybe even pay for a manager. That's a good investment. A guy who
Pay
knows
for a manager
what? Sorry.
in Israel? They make you pay the manager
Yes.
like
Like
before
upfront?
they do something.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, they
Uh,
don't do that in the States.
Yeah,
That's illegal.
Yeah, it's very illegal here.
Orphaned had a manager.
Yeah.
We tried that because we were always we're doing everything ourselves every time, and we were the booking agents. We were taking care of everything.
Yeah.
And we figured out maybe if we take a manager that would manage the whole thing and would let us pretty much focus just on the musical aspect, the concerts, everything, maybe we'll get to new places because the guy is focused on his business part
Yeah.
and maybe he's more well known around. And that just did not elevate,
Yeah, no,
sadly.
Yeah.
We
here in the U.S., it's very illegal to.
Yeah. In the States,
It's very
yeah,
illegal
you
to
cannot. Yeah, it's
do that
100% illegal to charge somebody to be their manager. Yeah.
because they only work off commission.
Yeah, a manager can work anywhere from 10 to 50% on commission, and an agent
Just-
legally is binded to 10% of whatever the
Yeah.
income is of the band.
All right, that's not the case here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's interesting. That's why I'm like, whoa, you gotta.
We learned something today.
What would you? You don't have to tell us what you paid your manager, but what on average is what a band would pay a manager to manage them, and do they get money on top of that, or they just get a flat rate?
They have like a monthly rate usually. That's how
Oh.
it goes. And if there
Yeah,
are
retainer.
successful concerts, they get their commissions off of that as well.
And
Gotcha.
what does a retainer look like for somebody, like for a band that might be listening that lives in Israel, where they're like, we should get a manager, like so they can work it into their budget, on average.
On average, it's I don't know, like it was about like $400 a month.
Oof. And
Yeah.
what is that in $400 is Israel in
Dollars.
dollars?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
translated already.
Oh, you did. You're like,
He
boom.
did the math.
Yeah. What is that? Because there's
And
people
shekels, right?
shekels. It's not. Is it shekels? Israel uses shekels.
Yeah, we use shekels.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, nice. Now, is a shekel equivalent to $1?
No.
Not money wise, but like the way they look at it. They go, this is like $1. You know, like in Canada, they have a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so, like, what's one shekel to $1? Or like,
I have only one problem with dollars, besides the fact that I really love them. I really have a problem with the fact that they are in the same color.
Oh, yeah, they are all the same color, and also they don't look good in girls' G strings.
Time
Right?
there, I just pull out my wallet and I just counted like, okay, that's a 1, that's a 5.
like these are all really ugly.
They all look like, what is this, 100?
We have colors, so it's really easy just to pull out the color you need.
Dude, every country has like colorful money except for the U.S. Like in
Yeah.
World War II, when we helped the French like take
Yeah.
back their country, we minted.
I never realized that colorful money is helpful until I got to the States.
Do you know how blind people handle their money?
No clue.
They
Tell me.
fold it. They fold the money. So when they get it from the bank, they ask them to fold it in a certain way. So singles are folded a certain way, tens are folded. Yeah, and that's how they know it's done with
All
folding.
right.
See that?
Who knew?
Anyway, Chen has to. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
Chen has to go. Yeah, he got his 5-minute warning. But is there anything you want to say? Like, where can people find you? You want to give every single thing you have, or just one location that has everything?
I'd go straight to my Instagram page. Just search my name, however you can. I'm the only one there.
All right, we'll put that link to that in the description below.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah, you'll grab it. Why don't we just
More
place
for
it?
youngsters these days, as I found out, they believe that Facebook is for old people. I don't think so, but all right.
Instagram's getting up there now
Yeah,
because
let's
now we
go-
got TikTok.
Why don't we all go to Parla?
Right now.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Hen to be on TikTok doing those dances.
Hell
I've
no.
I watch the dances. I don't do the. Yeah, right?
I assure you.
That's funny. All right. Well, Hen, I want to say thanks for joining on. We still got a little bit before we end the show,
Yeah,
but
so thank you very much for hanging out and chatting with us.
yeah, gave us some interesting insight.
And I miss your beautiful face.
All right.
I miss your panties.
On balls.
Yeah, the
Aw.
balls. Oh, I like the balls. Anyway.
Harp and
That's
balls.
those balls.
All right. As they say, I guess in Hebrew, tata, right? Thank you.
well,
Right?
tada.
Tada, right? Thank you. Tada.
There's also
Ta-da.
Oh, Lalatov.
Yeah,
Which is good night.
Lalatov. Yeah, ta-da. Anyway, I'm
Alright,
trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Thank you so much for having me. Until the next one, hopefully I'll visit you guys there. And for all the people who are watching us right now, here's a thumbs up.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Later,
All right.
dude.
Cheers.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Be good, man. Bye.
Oh man,
All right.
I love that kid.
You love him? Why don't
Yeah,
you marry
he's
him?
awesome. Nah, not a marriage kind of guy.
I think you could handle marriage.
Nah.
Why not? You'd be good in marriage. You'd ignore them. You'd be like, I'm doing my thing. They
Like,
love
listen, I'm gonna go make some latkes right now.
it. I don't know why.
Because latkes are delicious.
let's-
It's basically just Jewish French fries.
Look, we have like 300 comments. Let's see what we got here. How do you sell Illuminati and dog? Oh, how do you say Illuminati and dog? Oh, you know what? I can. Oh God.
Oh my
I
God,
need
I
that.
can
Jesus.
hear myself.
Okay. Silent weapons for quiet wars. That's funny. Liron Zafar. How do you say your last name?
Zafir.
Zafir.
You mean Liz?
Yeah, Liz. Why won't you fight her? She is Zafir.
That sounds like a very epic like warrior name.
Yeah, that's like
I
a
am
good
not-
villain name. I'm gonna name one of my villains in my book Zafir.
I like it.
Yeah. Don't worry, it's not from. They won't be. They won't be from Israel though. They'll be from wherever my fantasy.
Can they
world
have
is.
an eye patch?
Sure, she could have an eye patch. What do I care?
Because eye patch is if you're not Nick Fury, eye patch means cool villain,
Cool villain. That's funny.
and then Nick Fury.
Yeah. All right. Great. Let's see. Nate says I want head. So JD, if you would like to accommodate our guests,
And,
our
I'm
audience,
sorry, I'm terrible.
he is terrible at head.
I am.
I've talked to many of his exes. All right. He didn't think I would, but I did.
Wah, wah.
Hey, can you play basketball? Okay, great. Here's $100 million. Okay.
I'm terrible at basketball. Bad basketball.
I think he's referring to the conversation we had.
He
Oh,
was.
more gays than straights, 2021. I think everyone is gay because they're happy. And then everyone is straight because they're honest. Oh, wait, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of honest people in the world today. I don't. I think the fear of honesty has turned into a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Qua.
people used to be honest with you, quote unquote, right? But now they're being honest with their hate and their evil and their darkness. So it's a lie, which it means
Well,
all that.
I'm confused about the whole fear of honesty part. How do you mean?
Well, because if they choose to be kind, right? That's not what they're being trained. That's not what they're being freed to do. So they fear the honesty of kindness. So they're choosing to do the lie of evil. So like when they say the elections were, rigged, that's a lie. But they fear the truth. It can't, it wasn't rigged. It was a fair and
I see what you're saying. They fear
they fear
the result of honesty.
yeah, so they stick to the evil of their lie. Anyway, hey, you can sing and play this instrument. Here's $100 million. I don't think it works like that. But,
I wish it worked like
oh,
that.
dude, I do. What they do is
I would learn to sing in like a second. $100
Yeah.
million bucks.
Nate, not that you're actually asking it, but I'll answer it. The way they give you an upfront fee, which I believe is a signing bonus, is based on what they feel your first year sales will be, and they give you a percentage of that, and that's what your signing bonus is based on. So if they think you're going to bring in $1 million, they'll give you a percentage of $1 million, and then basically you have to earn that money back before you start making money on the deal. Not that you were really asking that, but
That's still something that's good to point out.
yeah, it might be different now because everything is streaming. I don't know, but that's how it was back in the day.
But which is crazy too, because like when you see someone get like a giant like signing bonus for something, like saying like with Ghost when they got signed to their first major label, they got like almost $1 million. So like just I forgot what label they ended up signing with. Like the fact that they expected them to bring in that much money is like mind blowing.
Yeah, well, it's Ghost. Actually, that
this is before they were like
yeah, but he probably
Ghost.
went in with a game plan, and his $1 million was an investment plan. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, hey, go buy a house, go buy a hot tub.
Yeah, no, he's definitely very, very smart with what he's done. I don't. There's been a lot of controversy with him and like
Like
ex
good
band
music?
members.
Yeah.
Well, business wise,
Oh, business.
there was like a whole bunch of lawsuits against him between him and ex band members, saying that he wasn't paying them, or they felt like they were old royalties. I don't know what the actual details were because I haven't followed up. But I know like 2 years ago, something like that, he was definitely in the news for that a lot.
Listen, speaking of bands, what are your thoughts on his last bit of advice? Would you take that advice?
About putting together.
Well, his game plan. Do you think that's a good game plan?
I mean, focusing on the music and putting together.
Like let's say going to LA, focusing on merchandise, music, videos, knowing the right people. Is that a game plan?
No.
All right.
I think that him focusing on the network building part is very important. I think that was probably the most important thing. I'll say.
Well, he wasn't talking about networking. He was talking about utilizing relationships for the benefit of his brand. So when he's like, "I have the relationships to help me with these things," that's not networking.
That I will not agree with, because that is not building genuine relationships.
Yeah, because what is networking at its core? It's building and cultivating relationships. It's not utilizing those relationships. And remember, it's
because utilizing is literally using somebody, whereas building and cultivating is building a genuine friendship, which is the real focus.
Well, in terms of BBR, the way we talk about it, TAC, the art of conversation, you're earning points while building and cultivating the relationships. So when you utilize a relationship, you're actually handing in points. So the more points you and I have for each other, that's like going to a best friend saying, "Can you help me move this weekend?" And they say yes. You have a lot of points with them. Mm-hmm. But if they go, "Let me see if I'm available," you might be running out of points with them. So it really, I mean, it's not always that black and white, but
that's the simplified version.
Yeah, that's the extremely simplified layman's version of it. And when it comes to utilizing your relationships, you're now taking points from them. You have to pay them in the points that you've earned through that relationship, and sometimes it's not really worth it. But also the mindset of my growth, like those things really will limit the growth of any band, in fact,
or any person in general,
because
like you pointed out to me a whole bunch, and like what I've noticed firsthand, when I first went out to LA, when I was on Long Island, it was always about, this is before I met you and had your guidance, and there was always a focus on me, my band, my music, our music. Like it was very much focused on us. Whereas when I went out to LA after getting your initial tutelage, I put in I'm going to intern for these people. I'm going to volunteer my time for these people, build new relationships, build new friends. I was always very giving of myself, and very quickly I started noticing that things were like happening. So it was that one shift led to a lot of opportunities by itself.
It'll happen every time, unless you're dealing with somebody that's known as a taker, or like obviously you have to understand.
Were
your
they
boundaries.
Also a candlestick maker?
Yeah, they are. They're absolutely. Okay. This is JD's last episode. There's boundaries you have to accept of yourself. What am I willing to give for the cost of friendship versus, all right, now I'm they're using me.
Well, I think right there is something that we should highlight too, is the fact you said friendship. And I think sometimes when people hear us say the word networking and building relationships, they might not necessarily realize that we actually mean to build genuine friendships. So I think that's
we're using the terminology so we can destigmatize it, because people hear network and they're like, But really, when we say network, you're building and cultivating relationships to lead to genuine friendships. And that's the thing. Like, you're not building relationships or friendships to get something out of them, because now it's not genuine. You're like, what can I get out of these people? So I'm going to work on them. However, that leads us to the circle of influence again. You're not trying to become friends with people that can influence your career. We talk about that often. You're trying to become friends with people that influence you to create better, stronger habits, because you're watching their behavior, or just listening to them, or even being advised by them to just better yourself, and not necessarily, well, I can get something out of them, so they're going to influence my career. That's no longer in your circle of influence. That's you charging the points that you've earned with them, if any at all. And that's why, even Chen was saying when he was like, "Oh, I just kept emailing him these things," and he was like, if you were just somebody I didn't know, I would have been like, "Great, thanks for this," and ignore you. But because
we should also point out that he was like 14, 15 when he was doing that.
But it doesn't matter how old you are. It just matters that he had already put in all that time for the relationship building and third party relationship building.
And he also had the benefit of the fact that he had the relationship built in with Kobe and his family before he was even born.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And to send that music that much, that often, he was costing himself points, but he had so many that he really was getting away with it, but they didn't really care. I can guarantee you they didn't care about the covers, mostly because the guy said, if I didn't know you, I would have been like, oh, what is this crap? But they cared that they knew you, and they cared about the passion that guy had or had for them, and the passion that he had for the drive to want to play music. And they were like, all right, we know you, we care about you.
You're pretty much a younger brother.
Yeah, so be ready when we need you. And that's really what allowed that opportunity to happen. But again, your success in life in general, not even music, just in general, is based on how can I add to the table. If you join any relationship and your whole purpose is, what am I going to get from the table? You're in the wrong business.
You're also a dick.
Well, not necessarily. If you own a company and you just want to collect what's on the table, you might still be a successful company, but you're going to have terrible employees. That is, you're going to have a quick turnaround, but you still earn the right. What's his name? The guy who owns Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos is a terrible owner. He's terrible. He pays people nothing. He makes them work hard. He creates these avenues to better his customers. Like, can I do 1 day, instant mail delivery?
Can I teleport it straight to their lap?
Yeah, he in my opinion, he's a terrible boss, but he's allowed to be because he's made such a system that is needed, even for the people that work there, because they're ordering from Amazon. You know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy because you can really see how much it really is important, especially with like everything happening in the COVID the past year. Like Amazon pretty much saved a good chunk of people from crazy time.
Yeah. More importantly, not that I'm like, Amazon is worth the big billions, trillions, actually. He's a trillion.
Well, he just passed Steve Jobs, didn't he, as the world's most...
No. The guy who owns
Elon
Tesla.
Musk.
Elon Musk passed Bezos. So Bezos is a trillionaire. And Elon Musk just passed Bezos.
I mean,
it's just like, all right.
Well, to be fair, Elon Musk is Iron Man and also starting Star Trek and Starfleet.
I think I read a stat that if either one of them gave every person in the United States $100,000, they'd still be the richest person in America.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's 100 millions for a billion. No, wait, it's 1,000 hundredth millions to a billion. So that means it's 1,000 hundred billions for a trillion.
There's so many things you just said that just I can't even think.
It's something like that.
It's so many numbers.
I don't know what
like
it is
this.
exactly, but it's insane.
I'm going to turn this light on.
Yeah, go ahead. Uh-oh, it's getting dark for JD. Oh, there you go.
Man, I could just be the silhouette this episode.
Oh,
I totally.
You were last episode.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, but his company, and again, not that he's obviously much more wealthy than I am. His company probably would be a stronger company if he. There's I can't remember his name, but there's a company where he gave up his CEO pay and then everybody gets paid the same. So everyone in the company, whatever level you're at, you get paid the same. And then you're allowed to take as many days off as you want, blah, blah, blah. And the company went, whoop, it flew up because the work productivity went up. People could work at home. This is before COVID. And, it was like, look, you're a part of this company. So let's grow together. And his company blew up. But, Bezos doesn't need to do that because he's like, I'm in control. But imagine he did. What he could do. And don't get me wrong, his company has people that are running it, and they started doing the all electric cars, the trucks, right? They're all they're all electric truck. They're doing their part. They have their whatever. I'm not saying he's an evil person. I'm just saying he's a terrible boss because he doesn't come to the table and go, all right, how do we help each other? However, I'm sure he does investments where he's like, how do we help each other? Because the difference is other people who could bring more money and have value to him, whereas an employee goes up to him, hey, I was thinking maybe we get more breaks.
I'm curious as to what your viewpoint on Elon Musk is, because if I remember correctly, Elon Musk has he expects people to work really long hours, but at the same time he also gives them a lot of freedom to speak their minds, talk up, and have a little bit more freedom, so this way they are productive. But in return, he expects them to be, working ridiculously long, 48 hours in a day.
I don't know. It depends what you're asking me, because there's some things I don't like about him, and there's some things I really like about him.
And I'm asking your overall opinion on his method.
On his method of what, though?
Being a boss.
Oh, being a boss. I don't know. He only hires the best, and he doesn't ask any questions. He's like, I already saw your resume, and I'll ask like logical questions, and he tries to see how you answer it. And if you answer it as a person, he hires you. Like, that's something that he's known for, and he's, he doesn't have time to waste. I can appreciate that. Like, I hate wasting time. Like, I just don't like wasting time. I guess he and I are similar in the way where, like, I expect you to be able to do the job you say you can do, and when you can't do it, I'm disappointed in you for lying. Because if you say to someone, I need you to do this, and you go, yes, I can do it, without going, I can do it, but I'm not sure how to do it accurately, then that gives me a chance to say, all right, well, now you're not going to waste the time. We'll get someone else to come in here. So like when I had the theater, that was a huge pet peeve of mine. Like, can you, do this thing? Yes. And then 4 or 5 hours later, they don't get it done. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to do it. All right. You're obviously you're useless, because now I know they're a liar, because they won't take responsibility. They don't in life, you have to take responsibility. You just have to. If you know something, you know it. If you don't know something,
you don't.
I don't know it. Right. And if I can do it, I can do it. But don't say you can do something if you can't do it.
Or if you don't know how to do it.
Or you don't know how to do it. Or don't say. But also, there's a learning curve. If somebody came to me and says, I don't know how to do it, and I show you how to do it, and I come back and you're still learning it, I can't be mad at you because you're still learning. However, if you say, how do I do it? And I show you how to do it, and I come back and you did only maybe one of the 5 steps I gave you, and then it turned into whatever amalgamation of how do I do this? Honestly, that makes, I refuse to continue teaching that person. Why?
Because they didn't follow the instructions.
Because they refuse to listen to me. Right? Why ask me how to do it? There's no way that person can do it better than I told them to do it if they don't know how to do it at all. So master how I told you to do it. And from that mastery,
go ahead and do what you want to do.
Then you could learn how to do it better. You think I do stuff that people taught me a long time ago the same way?
No.
I organize. That's how I simplify complicated methods. That's how I created my book and my strategy. Someone said the network, and they gave me all this crap. And then I was like, this is what networking is. Do these things, and then you have variables. But like everybody that told me, you got to do this to network. You got to do that to network. You got to. And I was like,
just boiled it down.
Yeah, it's like, no, you got to network. This is how to network. Now utilize whatever it is.
And what you did is you boiled it down to be so that it's applicable. Can't even speak
to anything. Yeah.
To anything. Yeah. Words.
But you know how I get if like you're like, how do I do this? And I come back, I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, you said do this thing, and I go, that's
paper mache.
It's not even close what I told you to do. It's like, but I heard you say that, and it's like, well, I thought it was, like the other day when you thought it was crazy, I suggested something, and I was like, well, why didn't you say something that you thought it was crazy so I can clarify something? Because clearly there was a miscommunication on both our ends. If you thought I meant something crazy, which what you ended up doing, I thought was crazy. And you're like, well, that's why I was like, why does he want me to do that? It's crazy. And I'm like, why didn't you say anything? And that's, that's an example of you not owning up to, the moment you don't understand something or something seems weird,
question.
You gotta question. In fact, one of the things I taught you in the beginning was,
I love questions.
No, everything I teach you, research. Don't just blindly do what I tell you to do. Ask questions, learn it. Now, in the situation with us now, you're learning the process, how to do the things, to better, get through what we have to do as a business. We're not.
You've been doing this, a lot longer.
Forever.
And I've jumped in a little over a year now, right?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over a year.
But it's not like you're a client where I'm like, all right, you got to learn, but go research it. Now I'm just like, ignore that. Just do what I tell you because it's right. And then if
cattle prod.
Yeah, and then if you don't understand what I'm doing, ask me questions. That's different. But because you're not
also cattle prod.
Yeah, cattle prod. Wait, I'm not telling you to do things so you can go out on your own and be like, how do I better myself for this? But I'm like, we need to get this thing done. Just
Let's
do
get it done.
this. You know,
Especially because you've already done it. So it's like, all right, this is the process.
yeah. So, you know, now I'm sure you understand why I get upset or disappointed.
Yes.
When I'm like, well, that's like you going, this is how you play a scale. And then I grab the guitar and I play something completely different. You go, no. It's just, don't worry about the notes of the, just play the finger movements in the four frame. But, oh, okay. And then I play something completely different. And you're like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm trying to figure out a better way to go down the scale. And you're like, but you don't even know how to go down the right way.
What's a scale?
What is the scale?
Excuse me.
It's like when people try to find easier ways to play things I write, and I go, but you learn how to play it the way I wrote so you could get the feel of it, because the position actually creates the feel. So if it's like, you know, but then you're like, you're losing the movement, the sway of the hand, or the timing it would take to go from position to position, right? But if you go into a small box, now you're just playing precision, and you're not necessarily playing with groove or movement. And that's something I always talk about.
Yeah, you're a stickler for groove.
Yeah, because it's music. All music should have groove. Even classical music has grooves. There's a groove there. It's not right. It's not. That's not what it is.
Nope.
It has a movement. It's in 6/8, I believe, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Right. Yeah, something like that. And even that like middle part was like, it has a, you know, it has a, that's a groove.
It's got a swayy groove.
It's got a sway groove. I teach this kid more stuff about music than I forgot.
And then I just forget it.
And he goes, great. And then he just does whatever he wants to do. And, you know.
Listen, sometimes these tiny little baby hands need to just, adjust. Speaking of, I got a bass blister.
You don't have a bass blister.
What the hell is this then?
I play guitar on a big instrument blister.
I mean, that's definitely what that is.
You don't play bass. You play guitar.
I play guitar on a bass.
Yeah. And even though I play guitar on the bass, I still play the bass like a bass.
I know.
But I also grew up with a bass player brother. So like, he goes, bass goes. One time he stepped out of a room, like he had a band called the Motherfunkers. And
of course he did.
Yeah. And I was playing guitar with them because I had to stand in because one of the guys left and they were waiting to get like a more permanent replacement. Anyway, he ended up leaving to go upstairs for the bathroom. So then I just picked up the bass, and the guy who played drums, he's basically a huge pothead. So he's always high. So like, he's not really looking around the room, but he just starts hearing me play the bass. So then he starts playing drums to me playing the bass. Right. And then like, he had two guitars, and then he had the other guitars playing, and then he had a keyboardist. And
It was a big band.
It's pretty big, right? And it was a funk band, yeah. And then they also had like a Congo, but they weren't there at the time. Anyway, so they started playing, I'm doing what I'm doing. And then he looks up, and then he stops. The drummer stops there, and he goes, I literally thought you were your brother, dude. And I was like, well, I was playing like him because I figured that's what you guys are comfortable with. And all his stuff was like, boom,
that's so funny.
And that's how he plays. That's like his style playing for his stuff. And,
it's all funky.
Yeah, but like I'm the exact opposite. I'm like,
yes.
Boom.
Oh, wait. There needs to be more space between those bones.
Yeah. Well, we only have
3
an
hours.
hour left. We don't got time. But
ain't nobody got time for that.
But see, music to me just makes sense though. Like, it doesn't matter what I play, but I just hate playing with musicians.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Because they don't actually know what they're doing. They think they know because they write their own stuff, or they like, oh, I've been playing guitar for this long. But I've been in the room with my grandfather talking before I understood music, and I thought he was crazy the way he talked to people.
And then you're like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah, as I got older, I was like, oh, of course he would do that. And then I understand my brother, because my brother has the same temperament as my grandfather when it came to music. So keep that in mind. and probably why my father stopped playing music besides obvious reasons. And then there was a regiment to it. How if you're going to play an instrument, respect it, put time into it, give it appreciation. But also, it's like, I think any musician that has the audacity to want to play with another musician and to not understand the language, that's like going to another country to live there without knowing the language, and then getting mad at the person who doesn't speak your language
when you're living in their country.
Yeah, you came to their country and you're like, no, learn the language to communicate. And I don't mean like orange. I want an orange. And in Spanish they're just like, that's not how you say orange. Orange.
Orange.
But more importantly, like, that's what music is. It's a language, and if you can't speak the language, it's like so difficult. Or even the terminology, like with the arpeggio, like that's crazy to me that you're playing an arpeggio. The answer is it's B. It's not the note you're playing, because the note you're playing? You played more than one note.
Well, we've already established that. I answered because I registered the question as what is the first note. So I told you what the first note was. When you asked me what the chord was,
you said B.
B.
But what the audience isn't grasping is, as soon as I played the F sharp, I was like, oh,
something's out of tune.
It's wrong. It's my right. And he was like, well, that's the note. And so then I was like, I guess the bass is out of tune. And he goes,
I said it might be because it was out of tune when I picked it up originally.
But it wasn't out of tune when I was playing it. You just gave me the wrong note. You gave me the wrong structure of the chord. When you play arpeggios, it's not the note you're playing. It's the chord. Yeah.
So yes, I gave you the note that way everyone was started on, but I gave you the incorrect chord.
Yeah. Now, if you were going to give me the chord progression, whatever your arpeggio rhythm was, you'd give me the chord of
the chord progression.
Yeah. So it'd be whatever it was, B to.
Was this B? G?
It was B, G, A, B, and not that I know your song. But or even the style of music, like one of the funniest things I love about our conversations is you know nothing about timing when it comes to reading and writing it.
Oh yeah, no.
Like you don't know what a value of a note is. I think what was the funniest?
Oh, we're talking about Master of Puppets.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you think the beginning is? And you're like, 30-second notes.
And you're just like,
I was like, it's eighths. And he's like, no way. So I pulled out my tab and I go,
like, oh, look, here it is.
They're eighths. And he's like, oh. And like everything he's ever learned was like being reorganized.
The cake was a lie.
Or yesterday you asked me to play something and I'm like, oh, the tempo's in the, a little over 100, whatever. And then you looked and then you said something like, I was like, oh, it's quarter notes. And you were like, no, it's eighth notes or something, because what you were playing on the guitar with eighth notes, but the timing was quarter notes.
I don't remember.
And you were like,
I remember yesterday you mentioned you picked up whatever the tempo was, like almost. It was pretty close. And I was like, yeah, it's 130.
Yeah,
but I don't remember
timing. Well, no, it was when I was playing, and I was like, "What's the timing?" And you were like, "You said it was like something ridiculous." I go, "That's it's impossible."
Oh no, you were asking the measures.
No, after that, because like once I understood what the measures were, I had to count it. So I was like,
I don't remember this one. I remember the discussion back on. There was a measure of 5/4 to 4/4.
Well, that was another funny thing. I'm like, I go, after those measures, how many 4/4s are there? And he goes back to the beginning of the song and he starts counting the 4/4s within the 5/4/4/4 mix. And I see him count. I go, that's not going to be the right number or whatever. He's like, yeah, it is. It's right here. And I go, okay. I go, but how many are after that? It was very funny. It was very funny. But again, that's
that's why you don't like working with musicians.
Yeah, because
you're just like, here's the stuff, play it.
We're not talking the same language.
Nope.
Which is fine. That's like you're learning first year school Italian in an American school, like a US school, and I know Sicilian. Like
hey
bibbidi bobbidi boo. And like those languages are you're probably not gonna understand me as much. You might even say that's not how you say it. I'm like, what? And he'd be like, no, this is how you say it. I go, no, that is not how you say it. And there's no accent. You're just saying it like you're English.
And why are you flailing your hands around? Oh, you must be a New York Italian.
Uno. Like, what is that? It's in Spanish.
Hey, oh, hey.
Anyway, But that's how music is with me. But again, you know, I talk to some people that are advanced from me, and I'm like, what? Like when my brother talks, I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because he's talking about stuff I would never even use. So I don't even.
You're just like, what is this? Or are you just like, let me take notes?
No, I don't take notes because I'll never use. I don't care about music enough in that capacity. But in the old days, he would say something, then I'd go and I'd work on like learning.
You're like, oh.
I would write it out. That's the other thing. Like I always tell you, I go, you don't know how to write drums or bass, right? So I always tell you, write out songs that are covers, and write out the bass and drums. And the reason is because you'll visually understand what it looks like to write it. Because right now, even when you're like writing out guitar, again, you don't understand values of notes and rhythm when it comes to writing. You'll write it and it'll be 100% wrong, or it'll be right in how you're playing it.
Like, oh, it sounds right,
but it's written wrong
to get the wrong feel with the rest of the instruments.
Yeah, like you'll write the wrong kind of meter, or the wrong tempo, or the wrong something or other. And it doesn't mean you don't know how to. You're not writing something correctly. You're writing correctly. But
to write it out,
to transpose it. And but one of the best ways to figure that out is literally just writing out songs and writing it identical to what it is, and then
checking the actual sheet music to see what it says.
Yeah, because you'll visually see it and your brain will start understanding the values. You know, it's like I'm really good at figuring it. Like if we play a riff or something, I'm like, all right, this is what it is. And it's because I'm not just
You've had
counting.
that practice for.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I wrote out one of my first songs on Cakewalk, I was like, this sounds just like the band playing. And all my brother did was write out a standard beat, and he just wrote it out to the rhythm. And I was like, this is perfect. And then I couldn't do it. I couldn't write it out like that. I tried it on my own and I just couldn't figure it out. And then I started learning. Oh, wait. All right, let's start with the standard downbeats. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. You know,
then you build on top of that.
And you build on top of that.
You got to have the basics before you can do anything.
Yeah. You can't.
You can't just be like, oh, here's all the sprinkles. Where's the ice cream?
Yeah, it's like writing drums that follow the rhythm, and you're like, what do you do? No drummer does that. They might follow the feel, but not necessarily the rhythm. And then sometimes they'll accent the rhythm, but they won't play a beat in the rhythm. You know, like even like they're hitting those feels, but they're keeping that time.
I got you.
You know, but
because the most important thing is that they keep the time. This way, everyone can play together.
Yeah, like you said something funny yesterday about like there's no the drummer wouldn't. You wrote the part to the guitarist, and I was like, oh, you should be writing it to the drummer. And you're like, but the drummer doesn't play. And I was like, the drummer's not playing. I was like, the drummer plays even when they're not playing, like because they're constantly counting the straight beat. You know, even
if the song doesn't have drums,
it still would be a time thing. You still would write it out in the meter that a drummer would play, because that's how you. Because if you ever in your life transpose something to the guitar, you're an a-hole. Because if you give it to the bass, the keyboardist, the singer, and they're all like, oh, I guess we're following the guitarist. You're not. All music follows the beat, that time. You know, what is the meter? It doesn't follow the guitar. It never will.
It will always follow the time.
The time is master in music. The time is
so time master. Is the master of puppets, is what you're telling me?
It is, absolutely. You know, right? Even in jazz, like the only way you can follow yourself is you follow that, you know, like the hi-hat on the foot, like, you know, like, so you don't listen to anything but that. You just listen to that guy's foot playing that little,
right?
You know,
the foot.
That's the most important part. Have you ever seen like a metal drummer and they're like hitting the hi-hat with their foot the whole time, but they're not even playing the hi-hat? They're playing on the ride and they're still hitting that like the hi-hat with their foot. So it's like, but you still hear it, because the drummer's job is to keep the time, no matter what they do. Because imagine this was something my brother used to hate about his drummer, because his drummer didn't know what timing was. They would do like everyone would stop, right, and then they would come in, and my brother's like, look, it's just a 4/4. It's just boom, 2, 3, 4, right, and the drummer's like, yeah, I got it. So it'd stop, and the whole band, but the drummer would come in on the 1. The drummer would be like, he'd either be before it or after it. And he'd be like, you guys are out of time. And he goes, well, technically the drummer is the timer. However, you're out of time. We're supposed to be following the drummer, but you've decided to waver the tempo at your will and whim, and that's not how it works. And it's just you play the drum, and he couldn't grasp it. He couldn't grasp the timing. And he goes, as soon as you stop, you just maintain the tempo, and then you just jump back in. No, I played it a feel. Yeah, you played it a feel in the beat. Keep the tempo, keep the beat.
I'm just imagining your brother having this conversation.
Oh, dude, he started like bringing over clicks, and he was like, just where, which is the worst thing to do for, like they were motherfuckers were like,
like they were like a groove band. They needed to have that fluidity.
Yeah, that funk. They were funk, right?
Yeah. So it's in the name, the Motherfunkers.
The Motherfunkers, right? So you need to be able to play to that. You still got to be able to play. But if you have the click on, and you're just you got to play around that beat. You got to hit before and after. I talk about how like you sound like a robot sometimes, and
yeah, you hate it.
Yeah, to be human, I mean, to have like that feel, you got to kind of like sludge the beat a little bit, right? Which is fine, but there's a difference between sludging, but you're playing with the drums. You're playing before and after certain things with the drummer, but the drummer still needs to have that feel. So they play a little loose. This guy, there's a difference between playing loose and
then just changing the tempo in the middle.
Yeah, he just stops and he's like, that feels about right. Do that, and you're like, no. Like, that's my drummer from Tenebra was. My timing was horrendous when we first started because I learned without a click because I thought I was better than.
Yeah, why do I need to do this?
I just want to play guitar. I don't need to learn that kind of.
I'm never gonna have to play with anybody. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, the first drummer I ever played with, I got it. I'll work on it. That's me. Don't worry about me. I'm on it. But once I started using Cakewalk and I started writing stuff out, and I was constantly playing through to a click, and I was understanding the values and how like
it made sense because you were working on that skill, and you were actually seeing it physically in front of you.
Yeah, like even when I played, I not only did I hear the sound, but I was watching it on the screen, and then I was playing flawlessly. And not that Tenebra music was extremely difficult, but I still I understood time.
Wait. Was Walk Under the Moon originally a Tenebra song?
Yeah, but it didn't sound like the Altanian version. However, there are parts in the Walk Under the Moon that are from the Tenebra version.
Was it also 16 minutes long? And never repeated?
The first version of Walk Under the Moon that I wrote basically in a day, everything, was about 12 and a half minutes.
Do things repeat in the original version?
No.
All right, then it's not easy. Because I guarantee you, the original version of that song is still going to be hard as hell.
Wait, actually, two things repeat.
No, they don't.
The beginning.
No, because it
does it at the end.
No, because it's different the second time. It does not repeat. Slightly different. It is a complete misleading thing. And that one thing in the middle, it's like 6 minutes in. I'm like, oh, cool. It's not.
No, it's definitely does not repeat. Yeah, like that.
Fake out.
That kind of is in the original song, but there's this one song I wrote called the Immortal Truth of Children.
Truth or Dare.
Curse of Truth of Immortality. Right, it was a song for a vampire album we were working on that we never got to finish because it never. And the song was 21 minutes long.
Jeez.
All right, it was a short song, and it was also one of 10 songs on an album. Anyway,
I'm assuming it was a double album.
Yeah, it didn't matter. We never recorded.
It would have been.
Yeah, but Walk Under the Moon was on that album, by the way. So Curse of Truth of Immortality. Anyway, so we learned the song because we were trying to play it out, but it was a difficult song. Anyway, there was this one part we called it the Curse of Middle because it was just this really great middle. It was 2.5, 3 minutes long of just instrumental. And anyway, there was a part in it. It was just really fun to play. And every time we played the song or even got to that part, this guitarist we were playing with, who was a jackass, he goes,
putz.
He is a putz. He's a drug addict too.
Ooh, not good.
And anyway, he'd always be like, dude, why don't we play that part a few more times in the song? And I go, why? He goes, because it's so awesome. I go, yeah, that's why it's in there. he goes, yeah, but people are gonna love it. Yeah, that's why it's in there. And he goes, yeah, that's why we should do it more than once. You know,
No.
they shouldn't have to wait 10 minutes for the cool part. And I was like, well, they shouldn't have to, but they're going to. I was like, you write songs if you want. He goes, no, you got to write songs. Like hit songs are songs that are just cool all the way through. And I go, that's not true. I go, hit songs are something that people connect to emotionally, and then it develops into a massive push, and then it becomes repetitive marketing. That's a hit. Like, you know, that's all it is. The song that everyone likes is usually introduced to somebody through a third party, and they go, I like that song.
And it also has some sort of emotional value to it.
Yeah. And every like songs that I like on Iced Earth is only because I was already an Iced Earth fan. You know, but like the song that got me into Iced Earth was a song that you would think wasn't really a great, like Diary was like a great song to me, but it's like a terrible song, but I like it.
You're saying it's like your guilty pleasure.
Yeah, like to me, I was like, this is great because it was so weird, you know, and like it doesn't really repeat often, and it was like, you know, I like, but then you know, some of their best songs were like Omen and Dracula, and like all those songs really have a structure.
The entire horror show album.
Yeah, but all those songs have a very strong structure, whereas Burnt Offerings, that album, those songs don't really have structure. There's sort of like parts are just happening, but I loved it. And the only reason I loved it is because at the time I was friends with Dan and he would just listen to it so
all
much.
The time.
And I was like, what is this? You know, but it was always on in the background. Like if we were playing Dungeons and Dragons because we're nerds.
I mean, I feel like that's definitely a good Dungeons and Dragons. Like
there was a song like Megalomania from where it's like, it's like a Black Sabbath song. It has no words and it's just weird music. It's on Sabotage.
Oh yeah.
It's just weird. And every time that song came on when we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, I always had it hidden in like a mix. And every time it came on, I would just make the worst possible thing happen in the game. And every time they start, like it became a trigger, they would just hear the beginning, like, no, like I'm gonna have to take a bathroom break. Oh, I can pause it. But it was just
that's funny,
you know, and it would be in the middle of like all like normal listening songs.
A dragon appears out of nowhere. Oh god, no!
You know,
and that's networking.
And that's how networking works. That's actually marketing. That's marketing. Because my relationship is the networking, but that was already established. But the marketing was I valued his opinion on the music.
But the networking is building the relationship.
Yeah, but that isn't what made me like the music. What was the
and the negative the negative networking is making a dragon come in and kill everybody.
That cost me a lot of points. I definitely used up a lot of points in that.
How many points? I don't care. I'm going in the hole for this one.
It's a red worm. It's only the oldest, biggest dragon. You guys are what, 3rd level? You'll be fine. But Dragon Fear freezes us unless we're 5th level. I know. Oh, I'm gonna have to hit replay on that song. You guys are still alive.
And the dragon magically disappears. Oh, God.
Did you just disagree with one of my DMing points? Yeah. Oh, Tarasks. 2 of them. There's only one. Not in my world. But that can't be defeated. Roll. How about run? Roll. You trip. But I rolled a 20. Who cares? This is going to be amazing. You're a terrible DM. A 3rd Tarask.
Oh, God.
With a rattle. That would be amazing.
I think we need to have a D&D night.
No, we have to have an Enchanted Isles night.
We do need to have an Enchanted night.
Yeah, no, new rules.
Well, yeah, because you made a bunch of
system.
changes since the last time we did the demo.
Yeah. I made a lot of changes, but I'm still working it out. I think that game is definitely going to be something that needs an app attached to it, so like it keeps track of the functionality of the experience. But
kind of like we had with Clue.
Yeah. But ultimately, I think while we're working out the bugs of the system, the mechanics of the system, like everything has to be written out and like
having like the paper thing right now. Yeah, the paper thing you designed looks pretty cool. Last time I saw it.
Yeah, the player sheet is pretty nice, but I mean, like
having an app is definitely going to be nicer.
Yeah, the idea of the I don't want to give it away right now, but the idea is ultimately that you're in control of your character's growth in a way that isn't really experience points, but like you do have to maintain, you have to organize it.
Yeah, I feel like then with most tabletop games, a good chunk of the time, there's a lot of time at the very beginning because you have to set everything up.
Oh yeah. But
But
once
like
you're
once
in
you
the play,
then you're just like, okay, we can actually do this.
Well, my job is my goal is to make gameplay because
Easy.
the one thing I hated about Dungeons and Dragons, and I love
Long
Dungeons and
division.
Dragons. Nah, not long division. Was the amount of time that went into an encounter. Like if a fight or anything, you have to roll a die. You got to look up this. You got to do that. You got to, blah, blah, blah. Whereas like I'm trying to eliminate. I don't want a lot of die rolls. I don't want, and like after an encounter, you're like, all right, how many experience points? No, did you pass or fail? All right, good.
You dead? You alive? Let's see. What
Yeah,
happens.
like let's just, and it should influence the your whole character as a whole. And if you're a character that uses a lot of strength, that's going to be represented in that. If you're a character that uses your wits, it'll be represented. Because that's the other thing, like when I played Dungeons and Dragons, I was always like the smart character. I always played a wizard or a priest or a druid. Nerd. But the thing was, I was never rewarded for it. I was only rewarded for aggression, and that meant like I had to fight to get
anything
real valued experience points. So if there's a battle going on,
you have to fight instead of using.
Yeah, like I would protect the troops, but then I would get like almost no experience points because I'm not getting because I didn't kill any of the beasts or anything.
So you're saying like part of your thing is you want to make it so that anytime you do an action, you get that reward. This way you can level up and not just be like, I have to kill the dragon.
Yeah, without giving it away too much. If I use the spell to say protect us, that would influence, and I succeeded at doing that. It would influence my intelligence, the spell I used, and like the ability to cast and my class.
Yeah, which is what you would end up doing for the rest of your character in theory anyway.
Yeah, and you want to just become more powerful in that area. But again, if you want to be a well-rounded character, you'll do more things. And also
practice makes perfect, as they say.
That's the idea of the game. Is like the more you put into something, the more you'll be rewarded for it. However,
so you're saying basically with like D&D, just because I haven't played D&D and haven't played Shadowrun since I was like,
and Shadowrun 12. I think is different than D&D. I think they have circles and like anyway,
I honestly
like skills or something.
I don't even remember. I remember there was like a lot of numbers and whatnot. But like you're saying with D&D, the mechanism is that you basically have to like fight in order to get those points.
There's a couple ways. So there's role-playing experience points, which like there's no number to that. Sometimes now Dungeons and Dragons has like you get a favor, like it's like a point of something that or whatever it is, and like you could use it to save yourself or whatever. I don't know. Then there's you get experience points for gameplay, and then you get experience points for fighting. And to me, it just seems like
you should just get experience points for doing whatever it is that you do. This way you get better at whatever it is you're doing. And also, I don't understand the point of a favor. Wouldn't it make it easier just to be like, oh, you did this thing, you've leveled up?
No, like it's like a dungeon or I think they call it game masters now. I don't know what they call it now, but it's just a favor to them. And like if something happens, you could trade in your favor. I
see what you're saying.
I don't remember what it is exactly because again, it's a brand new system that I put zero time into really.
What was the last time we played D&D like for realsies?
2013 maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, with it was Tom Booty, Rich, and Derek. And
did we know each other at that point?
Yeah, we knew each other. Yeah. We played at my theater on Saturdays.
Piece of candy.
Like after we close, we just play all night. Because I was trying to work out some things, but they also wanted to play, and I showed them how to play. And
gotcha.
My whole thing is I'm a storyteller, so I don't like write out everything that happens, but I write out the story, and then like you're in that story, and then you can do whatever you want within it. But a lot of times, players, my biggest pet peeve with players is they're waiting for you, and I'm supposed to tell you what happens when you do things. But they're always waiting for me, so I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'll explain the scene, and then I'll be like, all right, and then they'll be like, okay, want to look around the room? And you're like, all right, you look around the room, whatever happened, and then
it's like, oh, let me go talk to this weird looking like orc guy.
Well, let's say there's no orc there though. They're just like, I'm looking around the room. Or here's a better example. You enter a village. It's a small village, probably 100 people. There's maybe like 50, 30 or 40, small buildings made of mud, so it gives you an idea of where you are. And, what do you want to do? And then they go, I don't know. What is there to do? And I'm like,
You don't know.
Well, go look around. And then they'll go and they'll. Is there a tavern? And I'm like, everyone goes to a tavern. All right, there is no tavern. It's too small of a village. It's a village, not a town. It's a village of mud huts.
Go to the nearest crop, steal all of their corn, run giggling.
All right. Well, you probably die fairly quick. But then
From poison corn.
so as a DM, you have to start adding what's known as divine intervention, which is like a guy approaches them. Oh, I see you guys walking around aimlessly. You look like adventurers, and now you're just like,
And a
now it's
bunch of
boring.
putzes.
I have this thing that I'm trying to do, but I need a gathering of a gaggle of people to join me so we can venture off and succeed.
Are they like a gaggle of geese?
Yeah, that's why it's funny, because they're just wobbling around. But and now that's divine intervention, and it's just, to me, like, now we're doing that thing. But I love players that create their story, meaning like I respond, I tell them the reaction and the results, I describe everything. There is sort of like an overtone story going on in the world. Like, for example, if you were playing in the Maven War time period, the Maven War is happening, and the influence of the Maven War will directly influence you depending on where and when you go places. But that doesn't necessarily mean your job is to stop Maven. Could you? Yeah, you can make an effort to go that way. Feel free.
It would not be recommended.
It would not, especially as a first level or even a third level character.
Hey, you there? I'm going after you.
I'm stopping this war. Yeah, doing
Dead.
what? I got a hammer. Great.
And a loincloth.
You're gonna kill the king killer. Go for it. You got this. Can I meet people? Sure. But real good playing is
being able to get into the actual character that you've built and
like here's a
live
funny
in the world.
And also it could also destroy the game if the DM isn't that good. But I was playing this one game, and ultimately I was playing an evil character because I like playing evil characters in good groups. And but I was a wizard, of
course,
and
as you were,
as I was, and everyone's like just hanging out and they're exploring, like, I don't know, there's something going on in a town, and I'm like, I want to go to the library. and they're like, yeah, but you'll go away from the group.
Okay.
Hey guys, are you leaving the town anytime soon? No, we're going to explore this thing and we're going to see if we can figure it out. All right, great. I'll be at the library. Well, then I can't role play with you. You'll be there. I go, great. I don't mind sitting here while they do what they got to do, but I'm looking for books, understanding the area, because I want to understand the lore to get a plus to my lore checks for this area. I want to ultimately understand, is there a magic system in this world? Are there people of note historically? I want to understand
you want to make sure that you can make the best possible decision and also be evil.
And they go, all right, fine, you could do that. I go, great. And they go, we're going to focus on you going to the library. I was like, oh, cool. I thought you were going to focus on the action, but I'm okay. Like, great. So you get to the library. All right. I want to enter the library. The door is locked. I want to knock on the door. No one shows up. I will sit on the bench. And they're like, what are you doing? Well, I'm somebody's going to come by eventually. I'm going to ask, what are the hours for the library? And they're like, he's like, no one's around at all. Aren't we in a city? Whatever. He goes, no. I go, all right. Is there any other place around here that's open? He goes, yes. Great. I would like to go over there. He goes, fine. Who am I talking to? Who's he go, weaponsmith. I go, weaponsmith's over the library's. Anyway, I go, excuse me, Lord Smith of the Weaponness. When's the library open up? Oh, the library's been closed for months. When will the library open up again? It's not going to. All right, great. Thank you. I want to go back to the library. Why do you want to go to the library? It's locked. Because I'm a wizard.
And I can open the lock.
And I was like, I would like to cast Unlock. And he's like, as the DM, I'd like to point out that's breaking and entering. Great. I'm going to cast Invisible.
So basically, what you're telling me that you just were like, this guy was being a complete dick.
He didn't want me to do what I wanted to do.
Why?
However, I did very much say, do the adventure, but know that I'm doing this, and I want to roll after they're done. I want to make like I was at the library for as long as it was. Let me roll for success for these several things that I'll be studying, if they're there at all. And then I'll join the group again. But I need that information so I can because I don't want to just say I know things, because if I just know things, it's bad role playing.
Yeah.
If I know the area,
but it also it adds to the actual role playing, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this thing while they're doing that, and then they also don't have the ability. They don't have the added benefit of having you and all the skills you've acquired along the way.
But that's the thing. It was character development. One of the funny things though is like, but you're not playing with the group. And I turned to the group. I go, do you really need me there? Like, none of you utilize me as a wizard anyway. You just run in and attack things, and they're like, well, why don't you attack the things? Because I don't have to. I get 2 spells at this level. I'm going to use invisible and unlock. Because if I fail those, I'm still alive. Because if invisibility doesn't work, I'm not going to use unlock.
I need to practice.
That's what
I will get some bobby pins and pick the lock.
Dude, it used to kill me. And then there was this one campaign I was playing where I couldn't. The people I was playing with, they're just really bad storytellers, and they had me DM a lot. And they loved the DM. They always asked me to DM. And I was like, I want to play. Like, let me play. And they were like, all right. So there was this one time they asked me to play. And everyone got to bring in characters that they kind of already had established. So no one was like first level. It was like a higher level campaign. And I was like, could I bring in my character Sailing How? And they're like, who? And I go, oh, my ninja. I got a ninja, and he's got like 2 guards because I had 2 NPCs because I was such a high level. And they're like, all right, great. So we get attacked by like 20 people. So then I was like, oh, I'll have my guards take care of them. And anyone that gets through, I'll take care of them. I literally destroyed the room. And the other people I was playing with, they kept getting beat up. And they're like, what do you use? Because I was using ninja skills, and I was using like invisibility. It wasn't like magical invisibility. I was hiding in the shadows and getting like backstabbing points and
they're like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, because I knew what my skill set was, so I utilized. I'm not gonna attack you head on if I get a bonus for doing backstabbing, or like. But I use my my.
We call that acupuncture.
Yeah. Ooh. But that's what game playing should be. It should be like
fun. You should go into it, especially if it's like role playing. You should role play.
Yeah, you got to role play. Like when I did the thing with you and Booty, there was no role playing, and there shouldn't have been. It was just mechanic checking.
Yeah, because we're just practicing the system that you'd come up with, making sure that it was going. And then I was just playing it as a complete novice, which is what you were trying to say. Like most people at this point would be a complete novice at that.
Yeah.
But you also had Booty, who's like, no, I'm going to play to break the system.
Yeah, which he it's not that he broke the system, but he figured out some things that I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Well, like he was playing like one of those people to be like, I'm just going to play it to
break it.
Yeah, because that's what you wanted to find out. How easy is it to pick up and what needs to be fixed?
Yeah, and it did work out pretty good. Like I was able to understand like there should be limitations, and this is how the limitation should work. But more importantly, like you were in a situation where you just attacked, but like you didn't put like role-playing thought into it, which meant, how do I attack? Do I want to, what is my area? What is my surroundings? Should I go up a tree? Because if they're climbing up the tree, I get a bonus for high, like it's, but you also don't know those rules. But on top of it, as a role player, it's not your job to know the rules. It's your job to go, what do I want to do? And it's my job as the DM to know the rules. So I could be like, this is how we make that thing happen. Like if you like, I want to throw sand at them, I know how to make that happen. If you want to run, I know how to make that happen. If you want to, some people, they just think I have to attack it
instead of like going in and playing like the actual game.
Yeah, like you're okay to do strategy, but however, not that in my game system you get rewarded experience points, but like when I
can get rewarded for throwing sand at people.
Well, you would. It's not that you get rewarded; you get experience. You get the points.
+1 sand blind. Yes.
It's not that it's a +1 magical though. It's just if you did sand, if you threw sand enough into people's faces and you used that as a thing, that you would be so proficient in it that you would have a better chance of doing it.
Would I be able to eventually kill somebody with the sand?
No, because sand doesn't do any damage. It's just
you can damage your cornea. This is
Not
JD's
enough to
last show,
kill
guys.
someone.
It says you.
Yeah, this is JD's last show. Hey, I have like a plus 28 in this. Didn't he get killed? Oh, you scratch his corner. He's gonna be out of commission for like a week with an eye patch. You just made him cool. He's gonna get laid. That's you basically.
I'm the best wingman ever.
Yeah, you wounded him to laidness.
You're welcome.
But I think character should also, like for example, I had a character where I knew, because the game system we were playing in, I knew if I parried, I would have a better chance of defending against this character, because the character that was another player decided to attack me because I wasn't taking their command, even though like I wasn't under their command. I was somebody that was traveling with them, but I wasn't necessarily like, his fucking bitch. And I
He's
said,
being a dick.
he was like, we're going to do this. And I was like, no, that's a stupid idea. And he's like, but I was also playing to my character who was a strategist. And he was like, it is a great idea and we're going to do it. And I go, well, you guys are. I'll wait here. So he attacked me and I said, I want to parry. And parry gave me a huge defense bonus. And he kept missing and missing and missing and missing. And he's like, just attack me as a player. He was like, attack me. I go, I will parry. And he's like, well, then I'm going to, because he had a high chance of hitting me too, but he just wasn't hitting it. And then he finally rolled his one. And what happens? I get a free hit. So he rolled a one and I get a free hit on him and I hit him. And then he was like, ah. So then he kept attacking me. And I parry. I almost killed him from parrying. And it literally went on for like 20 or 25 rolls.
Why?
Because he wanted to put me in my place. And he was like, stop parrying. I go, no, you are a far superior fighter than I am. I will miss with your AC. So I'm going to let you be an idiot. But also I would have made him more. So in my game, I have physical. I have a physical score. So if you had done that in my game, you would have lost all your physical and you would have collapsed. Because you can only. He would
have tired himself out and been like,
yeah. So my game has an aspect of being tired, as an aspect of magic. So you can cast magic as long as you have magic points.
So what happens if like you build a character that has asthma?
You can build a character as you just lose more physical points. You could choose to be like, I want to lose, 3 extra physical points for everything I do.
My character has asthma and also bronchitis.
But that would be cool. That would be a character default, like something that adds to and it would make you say, all right, I have to be careful with being physical because I will get tired and exhausted quicker than someone else.
And also is prone to sinus infections.
Oh, so you want to be you?
Oh God!
Oh my God!
I can't breathe here.
I'm Javier Dinkler.
I'm Javier
Dinkle.
Oh yes.
But so that I think that's gonna be cool about the game. But also, like, it's easy just to replenish. Like once the battle's done or once you're done, it's like in time you heal pretty quickly. Hit points take a little longer, but like
because you just got stabbed.
Yeah, but your recharge points are all like
catch your breath, do some yoga.
Yeah, but then there's like. I have hit points, but then I have like aura points. So like you could lose your hit points.
Well, aura is for magic.
No, aura is like your essence, your existence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose your hit points, you'll not like. Let's say you lose your hit points through being stabbed. Like not physical will make you knock out because you're exhausted, but you won't die. But hit points hitting 0, your aura starts dropping, and it drops more and more as it drops faster and faster as it gets. Like less and less. So like the first, it drops a very little at the beginning, but like as each round goes on, so you have a chance to live. Like if someone could like patch you up or whatever. But you can use aura for magic too. But you have magic energy, and you can use your magic energy. If that runs out, you could choose to use your aura. But once aura hits 0, you're dead. You're done.
All right. Don't use the aura. Gotcha.
Don't use aura. But people can absorb your aura. So there are people that.
I don't like this. It's not good.
Like dark wizards can, or certain characters, they can be like, yeah, you want to fight me? And they like absorb your aura and then use it against you. You're like, son of a bitch.
Like, ow,
so
my feelings.
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel lighter on my face.
Literally my feelings.
So you're going to kill me. Could I eat some brunch?
Could at least get last meal.
But that's the other thing. Like when you're playing, like one time I was playing with this kid who I can't stand. And
heck with that guy.
I was a wizard. And
who would have guessed?
And the guys I was playing with, they were already in there fighting, and I was they told me to wait outside. I'm like, why? And they're like, because you're the weak, like you can get killed the quickest. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And they were fighting a lich and a vampire. First of all, a lich on its own, unless you're 15th level anything, you ain't messing up. Anyway, so I cast fly and I flew all the way to there and I got to them quick and I came into the castle, whatever, and yes indeed, they're fighting a lich and a vampire. I'm a wizard. Okay. I have magic. I already used one of maybe 4 spells I had at this point. I think it was 5th level. I might have a couple of spells. But nothing I cast would have did anything. But I saw a wooden stake on the ground. So I grabbed it and I was like, I'm throwing it at the vampire. Already well aware that it's not going to do anything. And I go, but I'm aiming for its chest. So not only is it a called shot, which means I have a great, it's harder now. Now my chance went even. I already have the worst Thaco you can have. That's to hit AC 0 in old D&D. So I had really terrible Thaco. And I'm like, called shot. So now it went way down. So I need to roll a 20 to do it. Anyway, so I roll a 20. It's a called shot. I get the vampire right in the chest. The vampire goes down. Can't do anything. Everyone there was like, because it was like, we're dead or I'm doing this thing. We were going to die anyway from the lich, but we were like, maybe we can focus on the lich if we can kill this idiot, And so the vampire, I was like, whoa. So the DM's like, huh? Right? He's like, this is ridiculous. So he makes the lich disappear and reappear over the vampire and take the thing out of his chest. And now the vampire's back up. And I was like, that's bullshit.
That's a really dick move.
Everyone in the game just got up and we're like, we're not playing anymore.
We're done.
Because you also have to, as a DM, there's impossible moments that you as a player are supposed to say, yeah, okay, we'll go the other way.
But then there's stuff like that. You're like, that you can keep going.
No, you can't. There's nothing you can do in that situation. There's nothing you could do in that situation. The characters that we had, I think the highest level was maybe 6th level. A lich, first of all,
what I'm saying though is the DM should have just been like, all right, you guys get this one, instead of like, I'm gonna take that away. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, he should have been like, you got the vampire. Good going, bro. But you're still gonna die. The lich is going because you have to find the liches basically like in Harry Potter where you had to find all the what do they call holocrons?
The Horcruxes.
The Horcruxes. You have to find the lich's Horcrux, and you have to destroy that. And you can only destroy it on a full moon or something. I don't know. It's all these stupid things you got to do to kill a lich. You can't even stop a lich. You can freeze a lich, and he's like, "Thanks for that. I needed it." A lich is one of the hardest. You have to be 15th level, and you have to have an army of 15. 6 or 7 of the 15th level.
So
guys.
basically, what you're telling me is that thing's gonna mess you up.
Yeah, and I was like, what is going on here? What was another funny thing that happened? Oh, I love cold shots, by the way.
You're like, yeah.
They were like 1 in a million. Anyway, I was fighting this high level warrior, and I was using a ninja. And I was like, I'm gonna do a cold shot for the groin.
Of course.
And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, see, I have a bow staff, and I'm gonna use it to hit the groin. And he's like, okay, whatever. And I go, it's a cold shot to the groin. He goes, gotcha. I was like, all right. And I rolled 20, which means not only is it double damage, it's an absolute hit, right? So I hit him in the groin, and then we were all screaming, woo, we got this guy's done, because we're like, he's going to be incapacitated, And we're like, woo! And the DM's like, all right, calm down. Great. That was awesome, man. Awesome. And then he rolls, and we're like, what are you rolling? Oh, he's attacking you. I go, no, he's not. There's no way that Mother Humper is attacking me or anyone else for at least a round. Come on. I 20'd him in the nuts. Cold shot. I don't know about you. You're a dude. You get hit in the nuts with a tap. You're like, hey, I need a minute, bro. Yeah. And he's like, no, he's a tough guy. And I walked over to him. I poked him right in the neck. I went, and he's like, oh. I was like, wait, just walk it off. He's like,
you're a tough guy.
I can't move my arm. I was like, oh, you can? Imagine I cold shot that as an expert bow
in the nuts.
Oh, dude, we were all pissed. But again, that's bad DMing. That's just we never let him DM again, and the reason is because you have to be fair with the story.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing the game like that, you don't have to just stick to just okay, these are the numbers. It's like you stick to the playing of the game and the atmosphere that you guys are playing. It's literally about building a world and living out the experience.
Indeed, but even in that situation, there is a rule.
Don't mess with the lich.
no, I mean with the ball hit. Like me hitting the balls, it's a called shot, so there would be consequences to that, and it would basically incapacitate him for X amount of rounds. And usually it's like a D4. You roll a D4. That's how many rounds. Which is like 1, 2, 3, or 4 rounds, right? And that's fair. But he was just like, all right, he's attacking you, and you're like, no way, no way. I just
there was no way.
But there's also like what we call that'll be cool, like moves. Like somebody will be like, I want to do blank, 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 and you're like, there's literally no rule set for that, but
we'll figure it out.
Let's make it happen. And you're just, you just go, all right, it sounds like it's strength, so just roll a strength check, and then you roll it. And you're like, all right, you flip off the thing, and you're like, yeah, and like you do cool things, and it's just for the gameplay, But yeah.
What's cool about what's cool about that though is the fact that like there's so much information about how like the systems work that you're able to in the moment come up with something like that. You're like, oh, it sounds like it would be this, and this, and you can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to DMing, when all rules fail, you just look at your ability scores. Like
if you're gonna do a backflip, that would be agility.
Well, yeah, you would roll a dexterity check. And if it's so, there's also like figuring something out as intelligence, remembering something as wisdom, influencing a person is charisma, outlasting something physically is constitution, and
Giggity.
Then like you would have a high constitution, because you average like 20 minutes on the pump, and then strength would be anything like a good 8 feet of strength, anything that's requiring your muscles like to do something. However, if you were utilizing your strength to hold up, like say a stone door that came down, and like you have like an 18 strength, and you're succeeding on your strength, after a certain amount of rounds for you to maintain holding it, it would turn into a strength and constitution check because like it's wearing you out.
You're like, maybe I should take a break here.
Yeah, and it's your constitution basically loses a point. Like, so let's say I rolled and I failed my constitution check, and I'm like at a 15 constitution. The next roll would be based on a 14 constitution, then a 13, a 12, until it hits 0, and then that's the same thing with like if you're trying to stay, like if you're drowning, your constitution is you're drowning. Like that's how you would figure it out, and you would lose a point of constitution every round until you hit 0, and then you die
and drown.
Anyway, so that's how you become successful in music.
Yeah, roll a d20.
You roll a d20,
instant win.
That's the other thing. Like I got rid of the d20s. I didn't want any. I didn't want any. You didn't have to roll for damage.
If you had the ability to actually roll like a d20 to like just like find different success, would you be like, oh, I'm just gonna roll the d20?
I roll d20s all the time in my head. I'm always like, yeah, I got that. Like I failed my d20 roll yesterday when I was trying to play your song because you failed your intelligence roll. It's an F sharp.
No, that would be the wisdom, I thought.
No, wisdom is recalling, intelligence is figuring. You're not recalling what note it is. You're looking to make sure you know what note it is.
What is this?
My brain cannot compute. It looks like F sharp, but it sounds like B.
Well, the note was F sharp. The chord was a B.
That's what the answer would be.
Check, please.
Now, wisdom would actually be to decipher what you should say, but what you're seeing to comprehend is intelligence. So if you're trying to read something in game, it's intelligence. If you're trying to recall what you had read, wisdom.
Gotcha.
You see?
And we learned something today.
Yeah. Any nerds out there? You've never played though, right?
I played D&D once.
And then the Shadowrun, right?
And then I played Shadowrun a couple times when I was in junior high. So like literally 20 years ago.
And were you like, I need to definitely date more women?
Yes.
Yeah. You probably didn't have a good DM, man. Sometimes the stories are like, we got to get back to that story.
Yeah, no, we didn't. I don't recall anything really about any particular campaigns.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, what I feel, if you're some people don't like to start out first level. In my world, in my game system, there isn't really a first level per se, because it's all like just what you know. But in my mind, a good campaign is you start off somewhere, and then the midpoint is like you have choices now, and then like the conclusion of the campaign, even if it's not like written out completely, the conclusion of that campaign is what else is there to do. you know, like I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. You know, I am who I am. I have accomplished anything it is that I needed to accomplish. And that could be anything from starting off poor and then becoming wealthy, or starting off unknown and becoming, you know, that's the great hero or the great villain, or, you know,
In your case, the evil wizard.
the evil. I always played good though, but I was always evil. Like, because you don't have to tell people what your alignment is.
So,
I don't do alignments, but
so basically, you were a gray Jedi, but with sparkly fingers.
no. I was evil. I was 100% evil. I was always a chaotic evil character if I could help it, but I didn't tell anyone else. So I acted good.
Oh, I thought like you were like, I am an evil person, but you did good things.
No. I did good things to better my, to advance my purpose, but I wasn't doing it because I thought, I didn't do it because I wanted to do good. I did it because I had to do good to better my purpose. So helping someone, that's how I justified it, to be evil in a good group. I would justify it as like, I'm not really saving them. I'm just making sure that I can maintain my cover. And that's how you justify the motivation.
Interesting.
You know, but sometimes like somebody would need my help and no one would be around. I'd be like, fuck you.
Bye.
Bye.
You going down now. Bye, Tim.
And other times I would purposefully cause situations where like our group would get attacked, but I would be the one who instigated the attack because I needed them to distract those people so I could go do something else. And that would be evil. And then I would come out from behind and be like, and save them, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, you saved us!" Like,
You'd be like, "Yeah, totally, yeah."
Woo, yeah. Evil. Anyway, it's 2:00. What time is it? It's
Like
5:30.
What's going on for dinner?
I don't know.
I need to eat.
What do you want to eat?
Everything.
There's not enough hamburger buns, right? Oh no, did we get
there
more?
might be. You know,
Did we get more?
I don't think we have.
No, let's see.
There's hamburgers.
What's going on
There's
here?
pasta noodles.
Uh-oh. What's this?
Is it me?
Let's see what's going on.
What is it?
Hey, the House should immediately subpoena the president's phone records. He was calling people during the Capitol insurrection to try to continue to delay election certification. Who?
So wait. You're telling me that in the middle of a riot / coup / invasion, he was like, "Yeah, whatever about this election thing."
Oh yeah. He didn't care. He doesn't care. What does he care?
All right then.
That is, somebody was on a news show the other day, and whatchamacallit, he says, oh, it was a girl. She goes, Prez Donald Trump. She stopped herself from saying president.
That's so funny.
Like, oh, Mike Pence finally breaking from Trump on the controversial issue of whether Pence should be executed.
What?
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
No.
On video, people inside the Capitol were screaming, "Fine, Pence, hang him, hang him." And they had the noose. The noose was for him.
What?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
Craziness, yeah.
Was that because he didn't agree with the last thing?
Yeah, and Trump said he's a traitor. You know, he didn't have the courage to stand by this fraudulent.
I don't understand how people are that insane.
I do. I get it all the time. Anyway, I guess that's the show.
I mean, you don't really make much of that up.
I don't make this stuff
except
up.
for all that role playing. I mean, you made up most of it on the fly.
Yeah, I did. I made up a lot of it, but all the background stuff I have just tons of, you know. But I usually make, there's like 3 or 4 time zones in my world that I play in because they're the richest of historic things that happen.
Gotcha.
But I think once the books come out, that'll make campaigns even cooler because I'll be able to sell campaigns. I'll be like the Maven War campaign.
And people be like, "Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
here."
I think what makes a great campaign setting, though, is not that like we're trying to kill Maven in the campaign setting. It's that
that's the time period.
Yeah, and like, what do you want to do during this? Do you want to start this? Do you want to start that? Do you want to be a part of the rebels?
Do you want to be part of the actual war?
Yeah, you could join the Maven War. You could be like, nah, I'm gonna. This is the other thing. Like, I always tried to do games where like I become like a shop owner, and I'd be like, no, we want to adventure. I was like, we could adventure after I build up enough, where it's generating wealth. Then I could come back, collect some money, and then I could buy a horse. I could do this. I could. They're like, no.
1, you're a nerd. 2, that is genius.
That's what I'm saying. because they'd be like, "We found gold. What am I going to do with this cavern of gold?
I can't take that with me.
Yeah, I don't own this. I'm looking at it. There's a big difference.
Yeah, someone's gonna come in and fight me for it, and they legally can.
Yeah. And there's no banking systems. Like I can't put money into this bank and be like, all right, if I'm 7,000 miles away, I could use another bank, you know? It's like, no, I got to carry this stupid money around. So what am I going to do? Get a wagon? And he's like, what's in the back?
My wealth.
My wealth. Here's 300,000 gold. Get out of it.
Go away.
I still got gold.
Anyway, it's dinner time.
Is it? All right, goodbye. What is it? I don't know. I don't make this stuff up.
I make up half of it.
Oh my God. The dog makes up all of it. And it's because I'm the smarts.
I'm the hearts.
And the dog is definitely the farts. JD actually the other day was the farts.
I was very much the farts. It was terrible.
Yeah, Jesus.
I could barely even deal with it.
Yeah. So ladies, just keep that in mind when you and JD are making whoopee. He farts.
And potentially Goldberg.
Have you ever farted during the lovemaking?
Probably.
Oh my God. Have you admitted it, or you were like, maybe it was quiet enough where it's like
Yeah.
Has a girl ever farted and you're like, I definitely heard that, but I don't think she thinks I heard that, so I'm gonna make like I didn't heard it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, she smelled that. I smelled that.
No, just me.
Just me? That's never happened to you?
Where she farted?
Yeah, but she didn't say anything because it was quiet enough, but you
everything up until the it's stinking and we have to like stop doing it, the whoopee.
So you like the smell? You like the musk of fart?
No.
You're like, this is erotic.
Oh my God, no.
You weren't like, okay, listen,
there are more important things than farting.
That's not true, because there has to be something down there now. Sometimes a fart smell where you're just like, that sounded wet. And then she's like, I don't care. Go down and finish. And you're like, you know what? I'm okay with that because I don't wash my butt. I refuse the shower after I poo. This is my jam.
It'd be more like peanut butter than jam.
Yeah, time me so I can average out my succession. And I'm gonna need a finger up or a sign that says orgasm achieved.
Ding!
Yeah,
or a bell. Or bell.
Yeah, as I'm getting closer, I need you to Mario Kart that, or Mario, Oh no, that's Link. Right?
No. That's when you get the flag. That's Mario. That's Mario. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Click.